Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, speaking of OTOs, as Bernard Jenkins was, fresh splits have emerged in the Corbynite campaigning organisation Momentum, which was set up in the wake of Jeremy Corbyn's election as Labour leader in 2015. The power struggle has placed a question mark over the future of the organisation, and those close to Jeremy Corbyn feel the emergence of what they call, quote, a parallel party. Mark Lebel has been investigating.
Momentum emerged just over a year ago, following Jeremy Corbyn's election. Now at the centre of a power struggle, it has over 20,000 members and tens of thousands more on its valuable database, currently in the hands of its founder, John Landsman.
Join Momentum. Let's build our movement.
It is a great campaigning tool and played a crucial role in helping get Jeremy Corbyn re-elected in the summer. But now, so-called younger movementists complain of a takeover by older sectarianists, after a vote last Saturday handed power to a few dozen delegates rather than giving thousands of members a vote in shaping Momentum's future direction. One of those on the winning side was Jill Mountford from the Alliance for Workers' Liberty. She's a member of Momentum's ruling committee but was expelled from the Labour Party. What direction does she want Momentum to move in?
I want Momentum to prioritise a campaign against austerity, a campaign against social inequality, and a campaign that raises the idea that solidarity amongst working class people fighting for a better national health service, a better welfare state, for the public ownership of the utilities, of the banks, of the railways. These are the things that Momentum should be campaigning for now.
But some activists fear this could lead to a takeover of Momentum. One member of Jeremy Corbyn's office told me Momentum is starting to look like a parallel political party, describing Saturday's result as extremely problematic.
Momentum's women's rep, Laura Murray, who was at the meeting, was horrified and wrote that the Momentum National Committee was like a donut of desire for change with a sticky centre of angry socialist stalwarts. She said the sectarian attitude taken by Trotskyist groups within Momentum is destructive to the movement, and she feared Momentum will abandon Jeremy Corbyn and Labour altogether to turn Momentum into a rival left-wing party. Professor Cecile Wright was also at the meeting.
I'm not quite sure whether we have lost a great deal. The thing is, members will still participate in the activities. I would have preferred the greater participation of one member, one vote, because it's in accord with what Momentum stands for.
So, without wishing to reference the People's Front of Judea here, could this potential split of the left of centre-left be good news for the centre-left?
I don't think this is really good news for anyone in the Labour Party currently. Jeremy Corbyn has said that we're on general election footing, and Momentum, who have brought in lots of new supporters into the party through Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, have spent 6 weeks arguing about a meeting, about a conference that is going to be taking place in 2 months' time, instead of focusing on the kind of issues that we should be focusing on in the lead up to a general election.
So how could this develop?
Trotskyists, the less than few that there are involved in the National Committee on this occasion, want to be part of the mainstream. They want a mainstream platform to which to talk about socialist ideas. There's no desire whatsoever for there to be a Momentum party.
But even the prospect of some Trotskyists being handed power to shape Momentum is already proving a contentious issue.
Mark Lebel reporting. We're joined now by Luke Akehurst, who's Secretary of Labour First. It's a centrist campaign group, and of course Paul Mason is with us. Paul, Tom Watson wrote to Mr Corbyn in August, alleging that Trotskyites were infiltrating Labour through Momentum. The Corbyn camp said he was just, quote, peddling conspiracy theories. But maybe he was right.
Well, look, the person there, Jill Mountford, is actually not a member of the Labour Party. So how she could have been infiltrating Labour via Momentum is difficult to see. The problem is, Momentum, why is this all happening? Because in response to this big bust-up that happened in summer, Momentum was trying to get its act together. And the way it was trying to get its act together politically is twofold. One is this organisational thing, which is one member, one vote, and having an app, like on your cell phone, to vote for things that you want. What's that there to do? To avoid tiny groups of reenactment kind of Trotskyists from the 1970s taking over, because that's their key skill.
But are they trying to do that?
I think. Well, look, some are not Trotskyists. The people who did what did that?
Are they?
What did that lady call them in the article there? You know, a sticky centre of older people obsessed with sectarian methodology. I think it's people.
Socialist stalwarts,
it's people who are obsessed with, for example, anti-Zionism. There are people who are obsessed with what we call sort of single-issue politics. So it's not just the small. I mean, some of them are not Trotskyists. Some of them are rampant supporters of Vladimir Putin. And a lot of them are not in the Labour Party. Now, we should... Momentum. I'm a member of Momentum.
Isn't that the point if you're an infiltrator? You're not in the Labour Party,
yep.
but you want to get into
so
it
the point
to infiltrate
the point
it.
about Momentum, it's got a tiny apparatus. It can't police itself in the way a party can. So one of the reasons people like me joined it was to say, look, we need, you've got Labour first, there's Progress, you saw them there. We need an organisation in Labour that actually broadly supports Jeremy's politics.
All right, let me bring...
But let me make this
no, just before
okay,
you, because you need to get feel from... Look, what do you make of it?
It's quite extraordinary. I mean, for people on my wing of the Labour Party, on the moderate wing of the Labour Party, we just sat back and watching the spectacle of an organisation that just delivered a second leadership election victory for Jeremy Corbyn, ripping itself apart over the most obscure issues of internal policy making. I don't understand why an internal grouping within the Labour Party needs to have conferences and policy making. That's the job of the Labour Party. And I don't understand why they didn't just listen to what Tom Watson said in the summer. He said these Trotskyist groups are up to this. Momentum could quite straightforwardly say, if the Labour Party has expelled you because you're a member of an interest organisation, you have no place in a group whose primary function is to operate inside the Labour Party. But they didn't listen, and they made a rod for their own backs.
Laura Catriona Murray, she's the daughter of the Unite Chief of Staff Andrew Murray. She's a leading member of Momentum. She says of Trotskyism, we'd be engaging in collective self-denial if we were to downplay its prevalence in Momentum. And she goes on to talk about its vocal, disruptive, overbearing, but they've won key positions in the regional committees. And she comments, the sectarian attitude taken by Trotskyite groups within Momentum is destructive to our movement.
I'd say that's broadly right. Yeah, and what I was going to finish by saying was what you just said, although slightly less vindictively. No, Momentum needs to become ready to be an affiliated society for the Labour. That means everybody in it has to be in the Labour Party. Everybody in it has to conform to Labour rules. And if somebody breaks Labour rules, as, for example, Jackie Watson was deemed to have done, so she's suspended from the party, then she can't be...
So a modern Tribune group?
Yeah, for me...
Because you had to be in the Labour Party to be in Tribune, I think.
Absolutely, but not like Tribune in this sense. We need to be a network. We need to be open, broad, and diverse, not a hierarchy.
Would that satisfy you?
Well, yeah, I don't. I think it is fine for organisations with particular left-wing policy stance that want to take Labour in a particular direction to exist inside the Labour Party, as long as they're not providing a bridgehead for people whose loyalty is to another party.
But you think they are?
And so Jill Mountford, who sits on the Momentum Steering Committee, she's a member of the Alliance for Workers' Liberty. She was expelled from the Labour Party for that. That was a separate political party registered with the Electoral Commission until the summer of last year. It is quite blatant in its wish to enter into the Labour Party and to recruit people and try and
Well, do you agree with
it over.
David Aronovich, who wrote, and he's a former member of the Communist Party of Great Britain, he said in today's Times, Labour is just a carcass for the Trots to feast on.
Well, I don't think it's that far gone, but if it carries on at this level, then that's how it's going to end up. I mean, I actually think the party is in a healthier state below the national level, where Momentum as a whole is being pushed back at a lot of regional conferences, being pushed back at a lot of regional conferences and constituency party AGMs. Well, the people on my side of the party are actually in quite fine fettle in terms of the fight.
So, Paul, you're in Momentum, so tell us what it's like, because BuzzFeed published an account of a meeting on the 5th of November It involved 18 members of Momentum's National Committee. It included the Fire Brigade Union boss, Matt Rack, who's pretty much on the hard left, along with 4 people from the Trotskyite group, the Alliance for Workers' Liberty, which you've referred to there. How many are there in this alliance, of course, is... I mean, don't think you need a double-decker bus, but there we are. Representation groups as names such as the Labour Representation Committee, Red Labour, Socialist Appeal, and Labour Party Marxists. I mean,
there are a few of them around.
And Workers' Power, which Paul was in.
No, I think
going back a few years.
I think that's Red Labour. I think that I have tried to research this.
You've moved on from that.
My short answer, I have no idea. I've never been to a Momentum meeting.
Yeah, why did you join then?
Well, out of solidarity with them, because I think the majority of new members, the incredible energy that they've brought. So, you know, whilst you're right that some of our local constituency parties are incredibly vibrant and that include people from all parts of the party. There are parts of the country where to get things done, you need to have some form of local organisation. But I can tell you this, if Jill Mountford is not allowed into the Labour Party, and I cannot see her being in short order allowed into the Labour Party, and remains a kind of basically expelled member of the party and not allowed, and remains in Momentum, I will not remain in Momentum, and nor will, I can tell you, thousands of us. This will be sorted in the direction of party loyalty, discipline, and moving on very quickly.
Well, I hope it is sorted because it's really confusing.
Me too, actually.
I mean, it's quite hard to keep up
It is like
with
the People's Front of Judea.
Even the Communist Party of Great Britain, brackets PC, what does PC stand for, brackets?
Provisional Committee.
OK, well, even it thinks it was a coup.
I looked it up.
You did? Oh, well,
I think people need to look at the other faction in Momentum as well, and the background of some of the people in that, because certainly in terms of family background, maybe she's got different politics, but Laura Murray's dad is or was on the Politburo of the Communist Party of Britain.
All right.
So there's an element of Stalinist Trotskyist going on here.
That's not yet a crime.
But just finally, I would suggest that interesting, well, some people will find it interesting, as all this is. Maybe more important for Mr Corbyn's position is Len McCluskey and him standing again for election, as I understand it. You're a member of Unite. What do you make of that? I
am a member of Unite, and I think you shouldn't underestimate the strategic importance of this if Len was to lose to Gerard Coyne, who's probably going to be the moderate candidate.
Do you think he will lose?
I think it's possible. I don't think it's the most likely outcome, but it's possible. That's very important in terms of the big blocks of votes that come with Unite in all of Labour's structure. But that's actually of secondary importance. This is primarily a decision for the union about the type of union it wants to be. And I actually think the push behind Gerard Coyne will be people that want the union to focus on its day job of industrial relations and getting the best for workers and stop interfering in the Labour Party quite so much.
We need to leave it there, but we'll look forward to that election with interest. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've been getting away